Hey everyone, this is Nate Lindquist with your Morning Warrior video, and I'm traveling right now, so I wanted to make sure I get this video put together for you because I'm going to be on the road for a while. This video is going to help you get those brain cells fired up and get your day kicked off right, and today's video is about I can't afford it. Whenever I hear someone say that, it drives me nuts because I think that we've been all brought up that money doesn't grow on what? Trees, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. Or money is the root of all, did you fill in the blank? Evil. Money is the root of all evil, right? And, all of the reasons why you don't have enough and money isn't important and all these kinds of things. So what if you were able to say that you can afford it? What if you were able to create the circumstances where absolutely every single thing that you want, that you truly want enough, you can afford it? I want to give you an example of exactly what I mean, because affording something is a decision to want something enough, and to not afford it is a decision to not want something enough. You can afford anything that you desire enough. And I know this might sound crazy, and if you want to argue the point, go to my Facebook page and argue the point. Go to facebook.com/Nate Lindquist results, because I challenge you to give me a reason why you can't afford something. Not affording something is a decision, and let me tell you a really great story. So recently, there's a woman who I work with who said she wanted to go on a vacation, and she really believed that she deserved this vacation. She said, I want to go on a vacation to Hawaii, but I can't afford it. And I said, well, what? You can't afford it? Do you really want to go to Hawaii? And she said, yeah, I really want to go to Hawaii. I said, okay, well, you just decided by saying I can't afford it that you don't want to go. Well, no, I'm telling you, I just don't have enough money to go. And I said, okay, well, what's your vision of Hawaii? What will it be like? What would the experience be like when you go there? She told me all about how great it would be. I said, do you really, really want it? She goes, oh yeah, the wind will be in my hair, and there's this mountain I like to climb, and a place I like to kayak. And I said, well, then you really want it. I said, great, what's the next step? And she said, well, I can't afford it, so I can't take the next step. I said, suppose you could. If you were the person who could take the next step, then what would that step be? And she said, well, I mean, I'd have to research tickets. I said, oh, well, did you research them yet? So she went off and she researched tickets, and she came back. She goes, I still can't afford it. The ticket's going to be $1,400. I said, okay, well, you don't have $1,400? No. She goes, and I can't even afford the time off. And I said, well, okay, let's take one thing at a time. Let's come up with the $1,400. So what would be the next step? She said, I don't know what the next step is. I said, well, how do you make money right now? And she said, I sell office equipment. Okay, I said, how much do you make per sale? And she said, between $200 and $350 per sale. I said, so how many sales would you have to make to be able to have enough to get your ticket? And she said, well, I'd have to make 7 additional sales at least. Around 6 or 7 additional sales, because that's $200 to $350. So even worst case scenario, I'd have to make 7 more sales. I said, okay, well, if your average sale that you're making is $200 to $350, then how many more appointments would you have to see? She said, well, I see about 20 a week. I said, okay, well, how could you see 40 a week? She said, I can't afford the time to see 40 a week. I said, well, okay, well, suppose you could. Suppose you were the person who could see 40 new appointments this week instead of just 20. How would you do it? I said, just pretend that you're that person. What would that look like? And she told me, well, you know, I could start a little earlier. I could get my prep done the night before. I could get my punch list done by my assistant. And I could plan a route to go to different places where I know they're already interested, and I could keep them grouped closer together, and I could do, instead of crossing town so much, I could keep certain places that are closer on similar days. So I could do a different grouping where I go. And I said, okay, and how could you concentrate those 20 new appointments into the most valuable visit you've ever given, where they'd be more likely to buy new equipment or supplies, because she makes money on supplies, so you could make your $200 to $350 per visit. And you could double that in between now and when you'd like to go. And she said, well, I would really like to go on this trip in 2 months. I said, okay. So you would need to have at least you'd have to at least double your appointments to make your $1,400 ticket in. Suppose you could get all your money in just 2 weeks. Suppose you could increase your visits and double your sales in 2 weeks. So you double your visits over a 2-week period, and you start making the $200 or $350 extra per sale. And I said, why don't you sit down and come up with 20 ways to do that? And she came up with 20 different ways to do that. And you know, the interesting thing is, we went back and forth on this for a while, And in a matter of 3 days, she called me back and she said, I'm so excited. I said, why? She said, I'm going to Hawaii. And she told me the date. She said, I went into the 4th place that I wouldn't normally visit on a Wednesday, and I made 3 deals I wouldn't normally make. And those 3 deals were enough for me to buy my ticket. They're over and above my normal, regular, staple sales. So I'm going to Hawaii. I said, I thought you couldn't afford it. She said, no, I guess I just didn't want it enough to pay attention to the next step. Have an awesome day. I'll see you on tomorrow's video.